Good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to Bible class with Andre and Betty. We're continuing our studies from the book of 1 Samuel, and today we're in chapter 27. And we'll be focusing on the fact that David, running from Saul, finally gets to the point where he's going to leave the homeland and go into live in Philistine country. So our subject, David leaves his homeland for this chapter. And David said in his heart, verse 1, I shall now perish one day by the hand of Saul. If I don't do something different, he's going to get to kill me. So he says, there is nothing better for me than that I should speedily escape into the land of the Philistines. And Saul shall despair of me to seek me any more in any coast of Israel. So shall I escape out of his hand. The only way I'm going to escape is if I flee from him and get out of his reach. And so he's at this point, his faith is not acting, it's what he thinks best to do. He hadn't consulted the Lord about this. And we're going to see him do some things that he ordinarily would not do if he was under the leadership of God. Verse 2, and David arose, and he passed over with the 600 men that were with him unto Achish, the son of Maoch, king of Gath. Gath is a Philistine country. And in chapter 21 of this book, David played crazy before him because he was running from Saul, and he didn't think the king Achish would help him, so he pretended to be crazy. And that's in chapter 21, verses 10 through 15. But this time he's going back to Achish. And verse 3, and David dwelt with Achish at Gath, he and his men, every man with his household. They took their families, even David with his two wives, Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and Abigail the Carmelitess, Nabal's wife. Verse 4, and it was told Saul that David was fled to Gath. And Saul saw no more again for him. With him being in Philistine country, Saul stopped running after him. Verse 5. And David said unto Achish, if I have now found grace in thine eyes, because before I couldn't stay there, but if you've now found grace if I have found grace in thine eyes, let them give me a place in some town in the country, that I may dwell there. For why should thy servant dwell in the royal city with thee? So give me a place that other than in the place of Gath, or the royal city. Verse 6, then Achish gave him Ziklag that day. So this is a place that's going to become an inheritance of the Israelites. Wherefore, Ziklag pertaineth or belongs unto the kings of Judah unto this day. Verse 7, and the time that David dwelt in the country of the Philistines was a full year and 4 months. So I think that's 16 months he was he was living in the Philistine country. Verse 8, and David and his men went up and invaded the Jeshurites and the Gezrites and the Amalekites. For those nations were of old the inhabitants of the land, as thou goest to Shur, even unto the land of Egypt. So these people is who David slaughtered. But this is so that he can go back and tell Achish that he had fought against Judah and Israel. Verse 9, and David smote the land, that is, of these people in verse 8, and left neither man nor woman alive, and took away the sheep and the oxen and the asses and the camels and the apparel, and returned and came to Achish. So he's raided these people, and he's getting rid of all evidence that he had been there, so no one could tell Achish what he has done. Verse 10, and Achish said, whether have you made a road today or a raid today? Here's where David lies. And David said, against the south of Judah, and against the south of the Jerahmeelites, and against the south of the Kenites. And David saved neither man nor woman alive to bring tidings to Gath, saying, lest they should tell on us, saying, so did David, and so will his manner be all the while he dwelleth in the country of the Philistines. Verse 12, and Achish believed David, saying, he had made his people Israel utterly to abhor him or hate him. Therefore, he shall be my servant forever. So this is a setup that David came up with to pretend to have killed Israelites. But in fact, he had killed some of the enemies of Israel. So that's a short chapter, and we'll just continue on until we complete this book, and then we'll go wherever the Lord leads us from there. So you all have a great day and a great week, and see you next time.